My name is Alara, and my life is flour, water, salt, and yeast. My bakery, the Daily Rise, isn't just a business. It's the heart of our small community. A place built on the tangible warmth of fresh bread and the trust of my neighbors. My sister Serafina deals in a different currency, promises. As a diamond director in a multi-level marketing scheme called Elysian Bloom, she sold a fantasy of wealth and wellness, all wrapped in toxic positivity. While I built my world with my hands, she built hers on a house of cards. I just never expected it to collapse on my doorstep. The bell above my bakery door chimed, admitting the morning rush. The scent of sourdough and coffee mingling in the air. My phone buzzed. It was Serafina, her face an ecstatic, filtered mask on the screen. Alara, you will not believe this. She gushed. Elysian Bloom is rewarding its top diamond directors with an all-expenses paid 8-week cruise through the Mediterranean, a journey of a lifetime. I forced a smile. Wow, Sira, that's long. Exactly, which is why I need you to do me a tiny little favor, she said, her voice shifting from triumphant to transactional. You'll need to watch Finn and Caleb while I'm gone. Your place is perfect, and it's what family does. She didn't ask. She informed she knew I was a pushover. The quiet, reliable sister who always cleaned up her messes. Before I could formulate a protest, she'd declared her love and ended the call. That evening, 10-year-old Finn and 7-year-old Caleb were dropped off. Not by my sister, but by one of her downline members. Their bags were filled with protein bars and shaker bottles for their Elysian Bloom nutritional shakes. There was a profound sadness in their eyes, a resignation that felt far too heavy for their small shoulders. The first week was a culture shock. The boys subsisted on their pre-packaged meals, eyeing the fresh pastries on my counters like alien artifacts. My bakery, a place of comfort for so many, was a foreign land to them. I tried calling Serafina to explain that 8 weeks was untenable, that I had a business to run. Don't be so selfish. Alara, she'd hissed over a crackling satellite connection from her supposed ship. You're just jealous of my success. This isn't about jealousy, it's about abandoning your children. I shot back, my voice rising. If you don't make other arrangements, I'll call social services. This isn't right. The line went quiet. Her voice, when it returned, was pure venom. You do that, and I will destroy you. I will have someone drop an anonymous tip to the health department. I'll tell them you have a cockroach infestation. But before that, I'll make sure it's true. I'll pay someone to sneak in and plant something. Something that will make your precious customers sick. They'll shut you down in a day. Your little bakery, your entire reputation, gone. Is that what you want? I felt a cold dread creep up my spine. It was a vile, unthinkable threat. But I knew she was capable of it. Her entire life was about winning, at any cost. My bakery wasn't just my livelihood. It was my identity. To see it destroyed by a lie, to have the community I cherished turn against me. I hung up, defeated and trapped. I couldn't fight her on her terms, so I decided to fight for the boys on mine. I threw out the Elysian Bloom junk and declared war on processed food. That Saturday, I tied aprons around their small waists. Today, I announced, we're making pizza from scratch. For the first time, I saw a flicker of genuine excitement. We plunged our hands into flour and dough. Finn, ever the serious older brother, meticulously measured ingredients. Caleb giggled as he kneaded the sticky dough, his hands covered in it. The scent of baking pizza filled the air, real and wholesome. As we sat together, devouring the messy, imperfect, and utterly delicious pizzas we had made, I saw my nephews truly smile. It was the beginning. We made cookies, braided challah, and decorated cupcakes. In the alchemy of the kitchen, they began to heal, and so did a part of me. The peace was shattered by my mother's arrival, a fervent convert to Seraphine's MLM cult. She swept into my bakery, not with a hug, but with a box of Elysian Bloom products. You're undermining her, she accused, seeing the boys happily eating a slice of apple pie. You're teaching them your small-minded ways instead of supporting your sister's empire. My small-minded way is called feeding children actual food, I retorted. Her empire is a pyramid scheme. Mom, the words hung in the air, an unforgivable heresy. My mother's face contorted with fury. You've always been jealous. You could never stand that she was the beautiful one, the successful one. She stormed past me into the back kitchen, where the heart of my entire operation lived in a large glass jar, my sourdough starter, a living, breathing culture I had nurtured for over 5 years. It was the soul of my bread, the secret to my success. This, she shrieked, grabbing a bag of Seraphine's green miracle vitality powder. This is the problem. All your earthy, peasant nonsense. Before I could stop her, she ripped open the bag and dumped the entire contents into my starter. The vibrant, bubbly culture was instantly covered in a sickly green sludge. She had killed it. She had looked at the very heart of my life's work and poisoned it without a second thought. I screamed at her to get out, my voice raw with a pain that went far beyond the loss of flour and water after I forced her out. A regular customer, a quiet woman who had been a former downline of my sister's, approached me hesitantly. Alara, she whispered, there's no cruise. Serafina is in trouble. People are demanding refunds. A group is filing a lawsuit for fraud. She's not on vacation, she's hiding. The revelation hit me like a physical blow. The blackmail, the abandonment tit, was all born of desperation. The queen was about to be dethroned, and then she came back. It happened during the Saturday morning rush. The bakery was packed, the door swung open, and there stood Serafina, looking thin and ragged but with a familiar fire in her eyes. She wasn't alone. Flanking her were 2 of her most fanatical downline members. They didn't come to take the kids, they came to perform. Elara! Seraphine's voice boomed, silencing the chatter of the entire bakery. We are here because we love you. We are here to intervene. My customers froze, muffins halfway to their mouths. Serafina and her disciples launched into a rehearsed performance, crying about how I was trapped in a poverty mindset and how my jealousy was trying to sabotage her success. They tried to publicly shame me, to paint me as the villain in front of the very community that I served every day. You're making a scene. Serafina, you need to leave, I said, my voice shaking with rage as I moved towards them. See, one of the women cried to the crowd. She's pushing us away. She won't accept our help. As I reached to guide her towards the door, the woman shoved me hard. I stumbled backward, my arm hitting a metal rack laden with trays of fresh, searingly hot croissants. I cried out as the heat seared my skin, the rack crashing to the floor, sending pastries scattering across the tiles. The entire bakery gasped. But in that crowd of shocked faces, one person had the presence of mind to act. A young man who came in for coffee every morning had his phone out, recording. He captured the whole sordid performance, the accusations, the public humiliation, and the final, violent shove. The community became my shield. That video was immediately turned over to the police. My burn was minor, but the assault in a public place, combined with the mountain of evidence from the fraud investigation against the Legion Bloom, was the final nail in Seraphine's coffin. She was arrested that evening. The legal battle was long, but I wasn't alone. My customers wrote letters to the court. The boys' teachers submitted reports on their dramatic improvement in mood and concentration since living with me. My mother, her life savings wiped out by the collapse of Elysian Bloom, was a broken woman, finally forced to see the truth of her golden child's rotten core. The custody hearing was a circus. When the judge questioned Seraphine's stability, she saw not a judgment but an opportunity. She stood up, her eyes gleaming with a manic fervor, and launched into a full-blown MLM sales pitch, right there in the courtroom. She talked about financial freedom, about breaking chains, about the miracle of Elysian Bloom. She tried to recruit the judge. It was the most damning testimony imaginable. It showed a woman so detached from reality, so marinated in her own delusions, that she was fundamentally unfit to raise children. I won full custody the day it was finalized. I didn't celebrate with champagne. I went to the bakery. I took out a bag of flour, a jar of water, and a small, hopeful piece of the starter I had managed to save. Finn and Caleb stood on stools on either side of me. Today, I said softly, we start again. We mix the flour and water. I showed them how to fold the dough, how to feel its life. And as we worked together, our hands covered in flour, the warm, hopeful scent of new life beginning to fill the air, I looked at my boys. They were no longer the sad, withdrawn children who had arrived on my doorstep. They were bright and laughing and home. We were building our own starter, our own family, one that was real and messy and nourished by love, and it was the most valuable thing in the world.